Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here. A quick video before I end out my day. Basically, the news came out today with Tazz putting the writing on the wall. A lot of people saw this coming out. Tazz has left TNA Impact Wrestling. He's now going to be going out and doing other things. You could tell that he retweeted somebody. He was even tweeting yesterday that he was going out on a business trip. I guess you can say that he was trying to make some meetings and make some wheels and deals. I couldn't really tell on what the meeting was about, but the person thanked Tazz for being in the office and said that he was looking forward to working again with him very, very soon. I know that Tazz has done gigs, on radio shows in New York. I remember one time when Tazz was in WWF way back in the day. Tazz hosted an episode of TRL, and I was really sort of surprised about that. How, Tazz wasn't really the biggest name when he was in WWF at the time. He sort of made his jump over from ECW, and I had a lot of expectations about him. Tazz really blew me away. I went to an ECW show maybe in I'm going to guess probably 1997, and I didn't even know what ECW was. I just went into a gas station, and there, sitting on the gas station counter where you pay for your gas, was a flyer. ECW Wrestling. $15. It was at the Gwinnett Civic Center. It was that night. I said, I got nothing to do. I like wrestling. I'm going to go check out this show. I didn't know about the popularity of ECW at that time. I wish I would have been watching, because only a few months before then, they had the WrestlePalooza show. I think that was the 1997 show. It might have been 1996. It was Al Snow going up against Shane Douglas in the main event. A very, very good show if you go back and watch it. But Tazz was in the main event. He wrestled a match against Devon Dudley, and it really blew me away. Tazz, the suplex machine. I started watching ECW as often as I could. Then once they got their deal to have pay-per-views, I was ordering their pay-per-views, and Tazz was one of my favorite wrestlers that was there. They never really, the way Paulie used to do things was that he really used to hide, people's weaknesses and show off their strengths, and they made Tazz look like he was one of the biggest, baddest motherfuckers in the world. I really didn't know a lot about MMA at the time, but that's, sort of the gimmick that he was going for, and it wasn't the minute that he got to WWF when he came in at the Royal Rumble, when he made his debut. I believe it was the Royal Rumble 2000. It was right when TNA got their Spike TV deal. They lost Tazz, and they lost the Dudleys to WWF almost right off the bat. And that was a big hit to those guys. They were able to continue on, but you could definitely tell that the writing was on the wall, that they didn't have a lot of time left, because they had a lot of talent leave them in a hurry. They didn't have the Sandman. They didn't have Tazz. They didn't have the Dudleys, and that was basically almost done. But once Tazz came in, he beat Kurt Angle. He had the big debut. I think that they had a good progression going on him, and then soon he just got tucked into the hardcore division because he was an ECW wrestler, and he never really had any progression, but somehow he made his way over to the commentating booth, and that became his job for a long time. You can remember he became the man on SmackDown, then he got moved over to the ECW brand. WWE saw the writing on the wall, moved him back off of the ECW team, back over to SmackDown, and then just out of the blue one day, Tazz was gone, and he had left WWE. He'd taken a job for TNA, and honestly, I thought the guy was crazy. I thought that he had a good long career ahead of him in WWE, but apparently there was things he didn't like about the job. I can't remember off the top of my head if he was one of the people like Mick Foley who just didn't like, Vince McMahon screaming in his ear. He thought that he was a good performer and that he could go out there and entertain people, doing the commentating without somebody yelling at him every 2 minutes about, make sure you plug this, plug that, talk about this, don't talk about that, so on and so forth. And I thought this guy had made the biggest mistake. If you remember when he first came into TNA, he was doing the announcing, and he was doing a really good job. And then shortly after that, he was, one of the guys that was brought into the Main Event Mafia, and he was the leader, or not the leader, but he was like the manager to Samoa Joe. They had sort of started painting Joe's face. He was turned himself into a barbarian, and he was carrying a knife. And Tazz was like the one guy that he would listen to, and it really didn't make any much sense. The Main Event Mafia had sort of brought Tazz in because of his, championships that he'd held in ECW. Samoa Joe had been a TNA champion, but he was sort of brought in as a hired mercenary. They were just in the back of the pack, and then he got put on the announce team. After that was all over, Tazz just sort of became a lovable babyface commentator. Then out of the middle of nowhere, he joins the Aces and Eights. That was an awesome moment when he interrupted the wedding. Underneath the tuxedo, he had the Aces and Eights vest on, and then became the Aces and Eights commentator. I always liked Tazz with a little bit of a heel edge on him. He always was pretty quick and pretty edgy. He never could wrestle again because of his neck problems, but I'm sure that Tazz is going to have a lot of success no matter what he does. Hopefully, maybe he can find his way back into the WWE. I know he's one of the guys that's been sort of vocal. He doesn't like doing the autograph signings. When I met him at the TNA, I forget what they call it, fan experience or something like that, he was one of the nicest guys that I met. I sort of went up to him and I met him and I got him a picture and I got an autograph with him. And he was very enjoyable to talk to. And then, honestly, near the end of the day, I noticed that when I took my picture with Bully Ray, I didn't have the right shirt on. I was wearing a James Storm shirt. I had the Ace and Eight shirt in my bag, so I got back in his line. And as I got up there, I think he got weirded out because I told him that I didn't need an autograph 8x10 when he pushed it at me. I said, no, I already got you earlier. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I just needed to get a picture with you because I wasn't wearing my Ace and Eight shirt, and I thought he would like that because I bought his shirt. I was putting money in his pocket, but I told him the story that I told him the earlier thing about going to the ECW show and it really changing the way that I watch wrestling. And I only went because of that little piece of paper that was on the gas station thing. And Bully Ray just sort of really blew me off. I knew that he's been sort of a bummer sometimes when people meet him at these things. And I'm sure he'd been signing for 2 or 3 hours. Maybe he'd heard a lot of stories and didn't really care about mine. But I sort of liked that story. And so I wanted to tell somebody else. And with Tazz being there, I went back over to the other side of the room. Tazz hanging out with Mike Tenay. He didn't really have that long of a line. He was really easy to meet again. I think I just waited behind maybe 2 people at the most. And I just told him. I got the story. I just wanted to tell you. And after I was done, he was like, did you tell Bully over there? And I was like, well, yeah, I told him. And he just didn't really, he didn't really care about it. But, but he really liked the story. And he told me a lot about people always think about ECW as somebody who really just, ran bingo halls and they never really made a mark in the business. And he thought my story was really cool that somebody went to a wrestling show just because they thought to go to this gas station and put these flyers out, and people really saw him. And I was already a WWE fan. I was already a WCW fan, but I became an ECW fan and I started following them, and that's how they got more followers. Because of that, I started subscribing to their magazine. I started buying tapes. I started buying t-shirts. I was supporting them because I was also, bridged into it. I was staying up late and watching their Total Access. No, it wasn't called Total Access, but it was on like at 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays. So it was weird because sometimes I would forget if I had to stay up late on Friday into Saturday or if it was Saturday going into Sunday. But it was basically on the Access Television, not the network, but like what Wayne's World is on when they talk about Saturday Night Live, when basically I can't remember if they paid for it or if it was given to them, but it was just on real late at night. I think they paid for the spot to be on television to show their show and get people hyped up about it, and they hoped that people would be fans of theirs once they finally made it to regular television. But I started really getting into that. And Tazz made me start the story all over and tell Mike Tenay that I really liked the story so much. But he's always been one of my favorite guys. I know that he's going to find his spot. His podcast isn't on my list of podcasts that I listen to. I honestly haven't even checked them out yet. But I'm sure that no matter what Tazz does, he's going to have success in this business. And even if he has to go outside of it, I'm sure that he's going to do fine. He's always been one of the greatest wrestlers. It's been a long time since they wrestled. But go out and watch some Tazz matches on the WWE Network. If you haven't seen them or if you need to see more, it's the best. Or go buy his Best of Tazz from the RF Video Collection. He's one of the best wrestlers that's out there. I mean, when you look at him, he's one of the shorter guys, but that guy was strong as hell, and he was good. Good. The other day, I know it was the anniversary of the Tazz versus Sabu match. That really changed the business. That was really good stuff. And that was fun. I wish I would have watched it. Maybe I'll watch it today and just act like it was yesterday. But I hope Tazz the best. He's going to do fine. Peace out, everybody. Have a good day.